G'day everyone, welcome back to the shed. Well, a few little updates here. We've got some parts to look at, some other bits and pieces in this package, so we'll just get into it and we'll open it up here. This is the replacement capacitors for the compressor. The ones on there are playing up, or one of them is anyway, so we're just replacing both of them, and that's them there. This is a starting, this one here is for starting. There's one for starting, one for running. So that's the compressor kept tripping out the circuit breaker, and so here's the other one. It's the end, and this one here with a couple of wires on it, that's the top. Made in Taiwan, all the right stuff on them. So we'll put those on in due course and get the compressor running properly. Right. Now on to our next item. What's this? Well, I can tell you, it's a piece of bronze, and it's going to be the bronze bushes for the planetary gears for the steamroller. So we'll just open this up like so, give you a look. Somebody's riding around on their motorbike making some noise, as they do around here. Righto. Right, they really wrap this up nicely. Okay, there we go. There's the bronze. It's a piece, 300mm length or a foot, and so it's 2-inch ID, 51.8 roughly, whatever. You can't see that. There we go. I've got that on the sticker. These are 1.75", 45. So there's a bit to machine off, obviously, and it's only 1 inch on the ID. There we go. Actually, no, it's a little bit bigger. It's 30mm on the ID. So we've got to take those out to, these are the new shaft, or this one anyway. It's 38. So we'll take that out until it fits over there nicely, and we'll probably put some oil grooves in. It's a question I've been asked. I haven't got a drawing for these, or the brass bushing. So we're just going to put a couple of oil grooves in and see how it goes. I'm also going to make some modifications to the shaft. A friend of mine put a grease nipple in the end, and he gets his engine in a particular spot so he can get some grease in there to help with lubrication on these. They don't really splash lubricate because they're not bathed in oil. They just rely on whatever comes round, and as previously shown, the old shaft just has a flat ground on it, and I think that was a way of getting lubrication down there. So the machining of the bronze bush will be another video. So we'll go over to the lathe now, and we'll we'll do some thread cutting. Righto, I've got the camera mounted overhead now, and we're going to put an undercut in, so when I bring the tool through, we've got a little space to stop. I'll just do it at a fairly slow speed. It'll be a couple of mil deep. I'll go down to the root size of the thread, and we'll just show that now. Right, so a little problem there. We've run into the tool post is hitting the Lathe Setup. So I just got to punch out that parting tool a little bit. Alright, I'm trying to find an Allen key. Right, hang on a sec. Right, who says I'm well organised? Whoever says that, I'm not. Let's try and get the crap out of there. It'll be better once I've got the airline set up. Just need a few more mil poking out. Usually it's a bit detrimental to poke these long blades out fairly far, but depending on what you're doing, you have to. Just so you can get the depth. Mainly because there's a lot of force on there and they can easily break, and I have had them break. So the other thing I've done is put the threading tool in. I've created a relief chamfer at the back, chamfer there. We've also got a nice chamfer there. In fact, I might just increase that one. So I've just touched off on the tool, the tip of the tool to the material. We're going to go into low gear, and we're also going to select our thread pitch, which in this case is 11 TPI. No, sorry, 9 TPI. It's 7/8 Whitworth. So it's 9 TPI. It's a fairly coarse thread. Now I have previously had this set up before, so on this particular lathe there's a set of change gears and a table that I work off, which is off camera, and I should probably, I'll bring you down and show you that. Right, here we are. Here's the up there's the gear selection, high and low, and the various speeds. This one here is the direction of the lead screw, and the lead screw, and these other knobs here are connected to change gears, and we're looking at this table here, and we want 9, so we want AC1. So that one around to there, A, and we're in C already, and AC1, and around here, there we go, that's it, AC1, now where should that be, that shouldn't, AC1, no, that's not part of that. So when we turn the lathe now, you'll see that the lead screw, the top one, is turning, and then I engage this lever here, which connects a couple of half nuts onto the lead screw and pulls the carriage along at the correct pitch, and I'll double check before we start cutting a thread. Right, so I've marked this up with a Nico pen, just an oil pen, just so when I engage the lead screw, I'll do what they call a scratch pass, and that'll just give me, I can check the, make sure the pitch is right. So we'll do that now. As you can see in this situation, there's not a lot of room, but it gets the job done. Oh, shit. Yeah, I should have pulled it out before I hit the go button. Anyway, no damage done. We'll just check the pitch with the thread pitch gauges. Right, we're back with our thread pitch gauges. Here we go. These are a Measure Max brand. Get a bit closer. There we go. And you can see that this one here, not quite. Lighting's all wrong. Anyway, these help you measure not only the pitch but also the depth. You can use this as a gauge, and that's not right. We're a little bit too coarse. I'll just double check that on. Okay, so there's something not right there. Right, okay, let's figure out what's wrong. Right, I figured out what was wrong. The lever that I said wasn't necessary, it was S, it should have been over in the T position. Some of you would probably, keen-eyed, would have picked that up initially, but anyway, we've rectified the problem, and this is why you do a scratch pass like this to make sure everything's right. Now I'll disengage the lead screw. I will redo the the pen here. Just clean off the end of the cutting tip here. I also re-chamfered this, and I'll go back to my 0 point and we'll do another scratch pass and everything should be hunky-dory. And immediately I can see that that's spot on. Let's zoom in there. Right, that's not exactly where I want it. Let's come out here a little bit, hang on. And that's going to fall. I think I'll have to tighten that up. Oh, yep, hang on. Right, I've added some extra light into so you guys can get a better picture of what's going on. I'll start cutting the thread now. I'll just apply lubrication by hand now that everything's hunky-dory. come to back my 0. I'll just start single point thread cutting, which is what we're doing. It's just a process of taking a number of cuts with a single point tool, as indicated. This is the way I do it. It's not the way that everyone does it. This works for me, and I'm just showing you what works. So here we go. Right, so we repeat this process until we get to the required depth. We do that by measuring and also having a sample nut, which we do have. There is another method of measuring getting the correct depth. I don't use that. I just go what I've learned over the years, and once again that works for me. So I'll put this on pause. I'll get close to the end, and then we'll show you what's going on. Back soon. Right, so one thing I am going to do is I'm going to turn the tip around. It doesn't seem to be cutting as well as it could be, so it's just a matter of using this little tool here to undo the little wrench, to undo the little screw, which is a bit more difficult to get to, and my hand's in the way. Right, let's get this little bugger cracked. These things also fill up with crud, and that's why having an air gun to blow that crap away makes the world of difference. However, we've got this one on the go, so we'll take him out and we'll turn him around. We'll just index him around, and I'll give you a close-up shot of one of these tips. And you don't want to do that. Right, let's just grab a bit of rag. You probably can't see that. Right, most of that was probably off camera when I was trying to take it out. But some of these tooling, they have a couple of bits to it. So this is, you've actually got the tool holder. Let's get in there and get that crap out. Then there's another little piece under here they call the anvil, and it can be a slippery little sucker. Yeah, just like that, and they do like to fall out. Let's just get all of that out of there. Don't want that in there. That's why having an air tool, as I mentioned before, is good. Okay. So this anvil here, that's what they call the anvil. It's shaped very similar to the to the actual cutting piece. So that sits in there like so to support it, and we just right. So on my hand here, that's the actual cutting tip. I'll get a bit closer, but this thing keeps changing automatically. You can't actually see it, but one side is fairly worn. It's got like a shadow on it. So I'll index it around to the next spot and sit that back in place, and then I'll go back and cut the threads. The other thing is too, we're not really running, we're running very slow speeds because we're machining up to a shoulder, and it's not the ideal cutting speeds. All these tools are designed for a particular speed, feed and speed. Not that they can't cut slower, but they're just designed to go at a certain speed. So if it was on a CNC lathe, it'd be doing it a lot faster than what you're seeing here. And I'll probably notice a change in sound, how it sounds when it's cutting. Right. Just put that back in the toolbox. We'll come back in. So I won't put any lubrication on, I'll just do a couple of light passes and get it back into the groove, so to speak, just in case anything has changed. And as you can see and hear already, well I can anyway, there's a complete difference in the sound of how it's cutting. The chips are coming off and it looks a lot cleaner. Also I backed off on my depth of cut, and I'll just start going back and forth. Also with a new cutting tip or new surface, the machine's not labouring as much. It's freer machining, and I can even see when the chips are coming off, they're curling a lot better. So that's definitely a wise move. So I'll put her on pause and I'll get close to depth and we'll go from there. Right, so we're getting close to the end, and hopefully you can, it's a bit blurry. Unfortunately it's not wanting to focus where I want it to. Let's go pan out a bit. So we've still got a little bit more to go. As we get closer to the depth, my actual depth of cut is a lot less, and the chips coming off it, or the swarf, is a lot less. So there's several ways, like I said, we can check that we're getting close to the depth. We can use the indicator on the wheel to see how far we've gone down. We can use the thread pitch gauges to indicate. I really can't get a close-up shot, it won't focus. But I can see there's still a little bit more to go. Or what we can do is we'll get our test nut and give it a run on there and see how far, or if at all, it'll go on. In fact, I will measure our outside diameter, make sure that, yeah, we're a little bit proud, if anything, a little bit size for size. So we'll just run the file over that. And we'll bring the tool back in. We'll just take another clean-up cut, and I'll get the nut and give it a try. During this whole process, I've kept the half nuts engaged on the lead screw. I do have an indication here where I can disengage and re-engage, but keeping it engaged, make sure I don't lose, I don't get out of step or anything like that. That's just the way I do it. Once again, other people do it differently, and you can see examples of that on YouTube. Right, so we'll wind this out the way. We'll take that back, and we'll get one of our nuts and give that a try and see how far we're going to screw on. Okay, we're only screwing on a tiny little bit and it gets tight, so we need to take a fraction more off. And as typical on a lathe, in most cases, you put something on there and it falls through, or you knock it and it... Right, put pressure back on there, lock that up. Wind that back in, we'll start going back. Right, our next cut will just be a clean-up cut at the same, so the next cut will be the same setting as that last one, and that should actually do it. And just for good measure, I'll just do another one just to make sure that there's nothing left. And going by the thread form, it's looking really good. Now, just out of interest, that one was on, it took a very small amount off the back end, which is surprising. Right, let's give this a clean up. This should go on nicely, and I know. Right. Okay, it's just, I tell you what, it's going to be a fraction more and that'll do it. I want it to be a fairly tight fit for where it's going into, so it locks into place. It's going to be under a fair bit of stress. I could easily put some thread sealant on there. Just checking the fit of the last one, and one of the old ones. The old ones, I'll show you. I'll bring up. Right, this here, it's really loose on the thread, and that's not good. You want a nice fit, a nice firm fit. For instance, this is the new one I've made, or the other new one, and as we screw on, like so, there's a little bit of play there, but nothing like the old one, and that's just really good. Thread cutting's a bit of an art, but like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the commercial nuts and bolts you buy in the shop are mass-produced, where this is, in this situation, it's bespoke. I'm making it fit the application and making it better than what has previously been before. After that cut, it's probably a little bit deeper than what I was expecting, but that I've just done a clean-up pass at that same setting. It's not uncommon for a clean-up pass still to take a little bit off. Now, once again, there's plenty of videos out there on people doing single point thread cutting or explaining how threads work. Highly recommend you go and check some of those out if you're interested. Just do single point thread cutting or something like that. Okay, that's not going as far as I thought it would, so we need to take a little bit more off. It's just right at the end there. If we were mass producing these, or doing a lot of them, you'd be doing it in a CNC lathe, repetition. So usually up to 10 pieces you could do comfortably in a manual lathe like this. Anything over that, you're going to do it in the CNC, repeatability, all that sort of stuff. And any more, you might want to look at a different process. Let's get rid of that. Right, let's give that a clean up. Right, that's going on nicely. It's getting a little bit tight towards the end there. Actually, no, that's perfect. It's a little bit tight, but I'd prefer it that way. And it's not going to do all the way up. It'll probably, once it's in place, it'll probably sit about there somewhere. And there's very little play. There's no play whatsoever in that. So that's it, job done. Perfect. We'll zoom in there a bit, give you a different look. I'll just move this a little bit in the centre of the screen, but there we go. That's a 7/8 Whitworth thread, single point thread cutting. Now the next process to do on this shaft is to machine a square. So as you can see on the old one, the square's been burnt over a little bit. This is a fairly soft steel where this stuff is a little bit tougher. So I'll set this up and do that in the mill. That'll be a separate video. I'll show you how I do that. And that's we're just moving on with the different parts of the project. So thank you very much everyone for watching. If you have been, I know this one's been a long one. If you have been watching, thank you very much. I do appreciate your support and viewership. If you like it, give it a like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Don't like it, if you want to leave a comment, do all that sort of thing as well. Thanks everyone for joining in. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.